the West. The battles won't matter. Only the music can settle the score. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die all alone, then turning to bone. So rock till you die. Yeah, vultures may pick my eyes, and when they eat my flesh, but I got the power to win all the hours to rock my life away. The sound of the crowd, the creak of the bones, I play it so loud with my mates or alone. It don't really matter if my world should shatter. I'll hold it together in iron and stone. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die all alone, then turning to bone. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die alone, then turning to bone. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die alone, then turn back to bone. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die alone, then turning to bone. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die.
Hello there, Matthew J. Elliott here, taking time out from doing British things like correcting people's grammar and, well, that's it really, to congratulate you, the listener, for selecting the True Blue Riffcast. Yes, you could have picked any one of the thousands of RiffTrax themed podcasts on the web, but your perspicacity led you to seek out the number one RiffTrax podcast, and for that, you shall be commended. Now, I'm going to turn you over to your hosts, Dave and Jeremy, and I shall board a flight back to England without even so much as the boxed lunch I'd been promised.
Thanks, Matthew J. Elliott. This is the True Blue Riffcast, the number one RiffTrax podcast in the world. I am Jeremy, and I am joined, as always, by...
What's up, everybody? I'm Dave, and I'm joined by my kitty man, Fanto. He's a last-minute addition to the podcast, literally while the music was playing, because the park where I usually go to record the podcast, I was smart about it, and I went there half an hour early to make sure that there was not going to be any construction, and oh my gosh, there was. So I had enough time to turn around and come back home so that the construction people can give piping through my park to the rich a-holes who destroyed my wonderful view with their stupid houses. Okay? Now, it is not a crime. It is not a crime to want something. It is not a crime to think. And it is not a crime to say that you want something. Therefore, I am committing no crime when I say I want to firebomb these rich a-hole houses. Okay? That's not a crime. It's not a crime to want something. Hey, buddy, where you going? So I turned around and I came back and I got in my car. And after Jeremy started the live thing, I went mute and I rolled down my window and my cat is in my backyard and I see it because my car is parked on the side of the house. I think he wants to get out now. But and I was like, hey, Fanto, what you doing? And he heard me and he came running over and he jumped over the fence and he started, because he's a social cat, but he wants to be social like at a distance. He's out of the car now. And he
So he's a
likes to be
COVID
social
cat.
at a distance. Yeah. And he was just laying out in the sidewalk. I was like, oh, I can't have you hanging out in the sidewalk. So I brought him in the car, but he just jumped out the window again. I think he was no longer interested. So, oh no, he's on the sidewalk again. But he wants to be near me, but he doesn't want to have to like touch me or anything, or like be a nice kitty. He just kind of wants to be around, just like hang out like at a distance. So that's what he's doing right now. And he's looking at me. He's being a great little bitey boy. And he's looking at something. He sees a bird. So hopefully I won't have to go. Okay. All right.
You
Well,
don't have to clean up
anyway.
a corpse.
Yeah, of my cat that I love. Yeah. But the thing is, I figured out why he has. I know this is cat talk now. I figured out why he hasn't been eating the cat food that I get for him. Is that he's a serial killer,
Yeah.
and he regularly feasts on the corpses of birds in our yard. So
I mean, he's a cat, so of course.
Yeah, but he's a psychopath, and he's hunting birds right now. But anyway, we're not here to talk about my cat. We're here to talk about RiffTrax.
Yeah, and specifically the Blood of Fu Manchu, which confusing for multiple reasons, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Our first thing we absolutely have to do today is see what the hell James 1 is doing.
Yeah, I actually looked at the Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Before Jeremy did, and he didn't instruct me to not. That cat better not be under the car. Looks like the car's not moving for a while.
So we got an update last episode of the world tour schedule. And we've got some more updates on that. Excited to announce our UK premiere at Mayhem Film Festival in Nottingham. And then above that, on September 14th, he posted that tickets went on sale for the Birdemic 3 world premiere at Fantastic Fest at the Alamo Draft House in Austin, Texas. And now I have to read this. I clicked on the link to the page for Fantastic Fest, and I have to read this blurb here.
Okay.
Because it is quite interesting. Let me grab it real quick so we can show it to the audience along with me reading it for people who are in the chat, just because it's kind of long, but this is very interesting. So it just starts out with a quote from Evan. It just says, "Damn global warming, Evan." That's the very first thing you read, and this is...
Yes, buddy. You want to come back in?
This is listed as a romance thriller comedy. I think the first one was listed like that, too, with romance coming first because, James Wan knows so much about romance.
Yeah, he sure does.
So here's the full description, okay?
Okay.
While slowly
Go back in the
sauntering
yard.
down the Santa Cruz Pier, geronologist, a scientist studying the biological aspects of aging, I probably butchered however that's supposed to be, and Tesla Model 3 driver, Evan. Okay, right here I'm going to stop because that's how you can tell what kind of... No, it was the Prius that died. This is exactly the type of person that Evan is, where he makes the fact that he drives a Tesla part of his personality.
I bet he put it in his Twitter profile.
Probably.
Tesla
Anyways, played
owner.
by...
Proud Tesla owner.
Proud Tesla owner.
I hate Elon Musk.
Yeah. Evan, played by Ryan Lord, happens to spot marine biologist Kim collecting ocean water samples for her climate change research. It doesn't look good. Kim carefully explains to Evan, the movie. Kim carefully explains to Evan that the water is too acidic because there's too much CO2 in the water caused by global warming, and that in turn is causing the sea lions and whales to contract cancer, die, and wash up on shore. Okay, so we're starting Birdemic with sea lions and whales. Yeah. Yeah, it isn't collisions with cargo ships like the media is reporting.
Makes me feel like, what is it, buddy?
It's global warming.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking.
No,
about, like,
no.
either
That's
get
the
in-
next. That was
either
the
get
next
in the
line.
car- get in the car. Stop whining. Okay. That's
Oh
your
my
options.
gosh.
I'm sorry.
Sauntering does sauntering mean that he walks like Rob? That's what Mike wants to know. Probably. So yeah,
That's how Edward talk. No, that's how the if you read the first Twilight book, like that's how the main villain is first described. How he walks, he saunters. Saunted.
but so yeah, there's too much CO2 in the water, and because there's too much carbon dioxide, that's why sea lions and whales are getting cancer and dying. It isn't collisions with cargo ships like the media is reporting. It's global warming. But that is not where the story ends. Climate
Of course
change,
not.
it turns out, is really bad. That's what it says. Climate change, it turns out, is really
As it
bad.
turns out.
Yeah,
You know what
I
else
thought it was
really
good.
bad? You know what else was really bad? Slavery.
Nazis, they're really
Yeah.
bad too. Remember,
It's really bad.
this is okay. This is what it says. Remember, this is Birdemic 3, and it is not a spoiler to clue you in that the birds, in particular the sea eagles, are super pissed.
Who
Like
wrote
all in
this?
caps. I'm guessing James wrote this. The chance encounter between Evan and Kim sets up what can only be described as a patented James Wen romantic thriller. This young couple has both epic adventure and steamy romance ahead of them. As the film ambles towards its enigmatic conclusion.
Wait a second. No way.
Yes, I swear
That's
this is
in
what
the
it says.
blurb?
As the
Is that
film
like- I feel like
ambles
it's
towards its
gambling.
enigmatic conclusion,
Not good.
our young couple will be packing serious heat, contemplating a space elevator with a very mysterious, very Elon
stop, no,
Musky
no,
Mr.
stop.
Green.
Stop. A space elevator?
A space elevator with a
What
very
the hell is a space elevator?
Elon Musky Mr. Green.
Elon Muskie. Oh,
Yeah. he's
Elon.
describing- yeah. Watching Russian roulette with sharks. Watching Russian roulette with sharks. What does that mean? What does that even mean?
What does
Yes.
any of this mean? Dude, this is like an AI blurb.
Mike says sauntering and ambling. Clear my calendar. Okay, so they're watching Russian roulette with sharks, disco dancing for hours, encountering booze-fueled biker gangs, engaging in
James Wan did
heavy
not write this.
petting, and of course, laying waste to a shitstorm of really angry birds. Oh, the best part is we're not even done yet. We're not even done yet.
What? How can we not be done?
There's still another paragraph.
A whole other. Okay,
No,
keep going.
Severin Films distributed the extraordinary Birdemic Shock and Terror in 2010, but was not involved in the less well-received Birdemic 2. There were just too many cooks hovering over that pot.
Why do they got to put that in there?
In order to recreate the magic of the
He
first.
got to shit on his own movie.
I don't know. In order to recreate the magic of the first, they yielded 100% creative control and director's cut to director and screenwriter James Wen.
Okay,
Severin-
wait, stop. If he has 100% creative control and a director's cut, why does there need to be like two? Is that two different things?
I don't know.
If
Severin
he has 100% creative control, that means there's no reason for a director's cut.
Severin wrote the check, and 3 years later, without ever seeing a draft of the script, Wen returned with a bottle filled to the brim with romantic and thrilling lightning. Oh, okay, this was written by Tim League, whoever that
This
is.
does not sound like James Wan at all.
This might be one of the most fantastic
know
blurbs
this
I've
man.
ever read.
I know this man, and he would not shit all over himself like this. Sorry, Twitch. He just wouldn't. He's the greatest.
Oh my gosh, this is an amazing blurb for a movie. Like, I love that they're like, they distributed the first movie, but they didn't even want to touch the second one because it was
Yeah,
crap.
it was such garbage.
We don't even want to be attached to this one.
Yeah, so that's why we brought it up.
Okay, so it sounds like they're going to disregard that movie even existed. Like, the events, whatever happened in that movie, which I haven't watched because I did not have a desire to.
I saw it.
They're just going to glam right over it.
Yeah, well, we've talked about my inside knowledge of Birdemic 2 previously, and I don't want to cover that ground again, but yeah.
Yeah. This is a great... Guys, if you want to read this for yourself or share it with other people, I'm just going to drop the link in the chat. But if you go to the Twitter account for Movie Head Picks on
And
Twitter,
he had
that's
other
where...
tweets too, didn't he?
It was the only stuff that we didn't touch on before was the two newest ones about Birdemic 3 being at the Mayhem Film Festival in UK. And then this one for Fantastic Fest for that wonderful little blurb. God, I love that. That was just so all over the place. I can go back to this now.
I can't believe they felt the need to take a dump all over Birdemic.
I think it's hilarious. It totally just makes it so much better.
Wow. Yeah, I bet James Wen requested that was in there. Be like, okay, I don't want. Like he doesn't want. I mean, look, he wants all the credit for Birdemic, but it's terrible. But he doesn't want any credit for Birdemic 2, which is also terrible.
Yeah, which was worse.
Like
from every aspect, from what I heard. But like, I guess I think with that one, wasn't he like trying to make one of those fully self-aware bad movies at that point? Like, isn't that what he did with that one?
The word that I got was that they gave him like all this stuff about him having not having creative control was not true. That it was completely 100% his vision.
Yeah,
that was the word I got. that like him going out doing all this complaining that it was intentionally bad and there were too many cooks in the oven on that one and this and that. That's a lie.
I love that they put that in the descriptor, though, for this. Like, we're just going to say there was too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, we're just acknowledge that we'll just acknowledge that movie was a pile of crap. But, like, Birdemic, the first one...
Awesome. It was awesome. Come
amazing.
On. It was so
we
good.
Shocked and terrored the world. with our scenic vistas, our Lord of the Rings style vistas of 15 gallons of horse piss.
Oh my gosh.
Followed by 45 minutes of clip art, birds, fires, and explosions.
And people dying while they're taking a shit.
Yeah. That's a real cinematic masterpiece right there, man.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, is Josh Flowers in the chat?
Yes, he is.
Okay, good. That means okay. So, segue. I happen to approve the Son of Santa audiobook, the last of my audiobooks that we have been speaking of extensively on this podcast for the past year. And I got the they uploaded my wonderful narrator, Colette, and I don't think I'm going to be telling stories out of school that our listener and number one fan, Josh Flowers, helped with the editing on that. And so they uploaded the last chapter. I listened to the whole thing front to back, and it's just fantastic. Like everything about it is just great. Every time I like review one of these things, like this whole experience for me has kind of like gotten me reacquainted with like my past work from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
In some cases, longer than that.
Dang.
And it makes me see it in a different perspective. But I'm also just like stunned at just like how awesome all the narrators that I got. And with this one specifically, of course, with this one specifically, just how amazing and professional and really just like dry humor, funny my narrators are. And they just like take like my here it is, dry humor jokes and just nail everything about it. And it's really quite enjoyable for me. And I just wanted to say publicly to Colette and to Josh how incredibly like I can't say enough good things about the production and about them as people and about how much more they've enriched the experience for me. Like I don't want to get too sappy or anything, but it really was special for me to listen to this this story, well, these stories. There's four stories in this book. There's the original Son of Santa novel, and then there's three short stories that come after it. And the original novel is like it's more lighthearted and bouncy and this and that. I forgot how dark I went with the short stories. Like I don't want spoiler alerts for Son of Santa, but I crippled the nicest character I've probably ever written. It just had a herd of Black Friday moms just trample and cripple him. And I was like, oh God, I forgot just how dark it got. I mean, everything turns out okay for him in the end, but still.
Well, that's good.
But Colette was able to take the humor that I wove into the she kept the funny, dry humor parts very funny, but like also like in some of like the more deathly serious things that I can't believe I did now. She was able to keep that serious, and it's just like she's so very talented that she was able to pull it all off in such an amazing fashion. I'm really surprised that this is like her first production of this kind. And one of the other things that really kind of delighted me was that music, you have to be, I'm not like, look, the difference between me like as a writer and all the people that I troll in that group of 65,000 people that hates my guts
Are you
is that
still
I
in that
know
group?
that I write. Yeah. Well, no, I left a couple weeks ago, and I'll tell that story later on. But but because if I tell that story now, I'm gonna go off on another tangent. But the difference between me and like those guys is that I know I'm writing trash. I know it. I know what kind of writer I am.
So you're like
So
the David Giancola of authoring. Is that what you're saying?
sort of, yeah.
Not taking
But
it too seriously.
yeah, not taking it too seriously, but like it resonates with me.
Yeah.
And for like I think that is kind of one of the more important things to do with writing. But like I'm not saying I'm a great writer, but it takes at least a knowledgeable writer to make music work in prose, because a lot of times, like you say, oh, this song came on the radio, that doesn't work, because what if the reader doesn't know or hasn't heard whatever stupid song you're talking about? They're not going to have any context for that.
Yeah.
But there was a piece of music that I really wanted to use in one of the short stories called Attack of the Yeti, and it was Bing Crosby's Adeste Fidelis, which is the Latin version of O Come All Ye Faithful. And it's one of my favorite pieces of Christmas music out there.
Yeah.
And during the production, I was like, hey, there's this song in chapter 7. And another thing I did to Colette that I completely forgot that I did. super quick, is that there are lines spoken in foreign languages that I completely forgot that I wrote. And she emailed me as be like, "Hey, I'm looking for the pronunciation on the Icelandic." And I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot." So I had to provide her with and she actually did pretty good on that, really well on that by herself, because she actually went and looked up pronunciation guides in Icelandic.
Oh, nice.
I was able to help her out with some of the other things that she couldn't find, and she nailed it. And actually recorded, because my German is okay, it's not great, and I was able to record like more or less what the German lines were supposed to sound like, and she knocked that out of the park too. So if anybody complains that the German sounds not that great, it's not her fault, it's mine, because that's my German, not hers.
Yeah.
So
Josh said, "Thanks, Dave. Thank you for giving us a chance and for all your patience."
oh, no problem, Josh. I'm about to put you guys over. This might be the nicest thing that I say. Not that I haven't said nice things before, but like, what really got me was Colette's rendition of Adeste Fidelis. I sent her a YouTube video of like, "Hey, this is how Bing Crosby sings it. Like, if this helps you with that, then that's really all I can offer you." And she sang Adeste Fidelis,
Wow.
and they edited it through into like word for word, like how it appears. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, but but the editing was so flawless, and like she went for it, man. Like her rendition of Adeste Fidelis in this. I don't really want to say it's the best thing about the narration, but it was a real awesome unexpected, because she can really belt out a tune. She's amazing.
That's cool.
Like she's a great singer. So I was tickled is probably too light of a word to use, but I really, really enjoyed her singing that the way she did. And I appreciate everything that these guys did. One other thing I will say about Son of Santa before we move on, and I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if Colette's listening or not, but I'm pretty sure that she would back me up on this. Like, and this is just me talking now. When you're in, your early 40s, like I am, and you go back and you review material that you wrote in your mid to late 20s, some of the things are just going to be like, "Oh God, why did I do that?" Now, if I were to go back to myself in 2007 through 2010, which was when these stories were written, and I was able to have like a sit down with my writer self from that era, I'll be like, the one thing I would say, if I had to say one thing, I'd be like, "Bro, I know you think that boobs are hilarious. I know you think this, okay? And you're right. They are, but maybe you don't need to make a fake titty joke literally in every scene that Gina appears." Like it's funny at the time when you write it, because like those short stories were written like months apart from each other, and it didn't feel like I was making that many fake titty jokes. But like when you listen to it all back to back, you're like, "Oh God. Oh man." Like I'd just be like, maybe not every time she shows up.
What have I done?
Yeah. So I was just like, I mean, they're funny. I guess. I mean, of course, I think they're funny. I wrote them to resonate with like my sense of humor at that time. But I just kind of wish I hadn't written a fake titty joke every time in every scene that Gina shows up in after she gets fake titties. That like that is, and that's entirely on me. That's got nothing to do with the narration.
Oh, Dave.
Oh God. But yeah, so I approved the final cut, and it's at Audible right now doing its own quality control check, which means it should be available here in the next few days.
Awesome.
Oh, and speaking of that, Audible is having a sale right now. Everybody, Audible's having a sale right now, and across the board, every single title on Audible right now is super cheap. Unfortunately, I don't think Son of Santa is going to make it on time because the sale ends, I think, on Saturday or before Saturday. And if it does, great. But right now, Happy Valley and the Tumbleweed Dossier are super cheap on audible.com. Go to audible.com, search my name, Dave Chadwick. Look for Happy Valley and the Tumbleweed Dossier. Happy Valley narrated by Caleb A. Meacham, and Tumbleweed Dossier is narrated by General Hospital star Haley Pullis. Those, if you've been holding out, now's the time.
Yes. And do it before the 24th because, according to The Simpsons and what certain people are saying online, there's going to be no electricity on Earth after the 24th.
What the hell are you talking about?
The one movement of the one letter movement, I'm sure people know who I'm talking about. I don't want to say their name because I don't want to do anything.
One letter movement.
Yeah, they go by the name of the letter that comes after P.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. So
we're gonna have a mass EMP event on Saturday.
Every time someone tries to explain to me like what that's about, all I hear is just like birds and the ocean. Like I don't retain any of it.
They're
it's
just
like, okay.
It's just
sure.
a group of conspiracy theorists that run with all the weirdest crap and try and spread it as much as they can. That's all it is.
It's and I know I've used this comparison before, but it's like anytime someone tries to tell me like why Batman versus Superman sucks, it's been explained to me so many times, and I never retain any of it.
You shouldn't like it, Dave, because I didn't like it.
I love that movie.
Speaking of movies, let's go ahead and take a look at the weekend box office. The number one movie over the weekend, The Woman King, starring Viola Davis. Second movie, The Barbarian, horror movie. Pearl, coming in at third. See How They Run, coming in at fourth. And sliding down to number 5 is Bullet Train. And then Top Gun's
Top Gun's not in there at all.
It's not in top 5.
Still in my theater.
Top Gun it's still playing in my theater too. It's currently in 6th place overall in the box office for last weekend.
That's so impressive.
It is.
RiffTrax should do that.
$709 million so far, just in the U.S. here.
$709 million?
Yeah.
Not total.
No, $709 million
in
the U.S.
Okay.
Not $7 million. $709 million.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was about to say. Okay, yeah, that sounds.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds more accurate.
No, it was $2.2 million over the weekend. It might have worldwide. This is just domestic.
Okay.
So yeah, worldwide it's up there. But I know a movie that didn't make anywhere near that much money. At least I would imagine it didn't make anywhere near that much money. That is this week's. This week's riff, the last new riff that they did, the Blood of Fu Manchu, also known as Kiss and Kill and Against All Odds.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, it's actually up.
Titles.
It's actually up on Turner Classic as Kiss and Kill.
So, guys, we watched this movie literally like what, an hour
and a half
hours ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This morning.
And I've already flushed a lot of it because it's the good news. This is not a Copper Mountain type situation.
No,
this is not. This is not. I would not consider this a trash tier pick, like I would with Copper Mountain. And dare I say it, even Cats.
This one actually felt like a proper movie.
Yeah, and it felt like it belongs in the RiffTrax canon, but there are some problems with it.
Yeah,
and,
the main one being this is the 4th in technically it's the 15th overall Fu Manchu movie, but it's the 4th in the series with Christopher Lee playing Fu Manchu, which is a whole nother box of worms that we're not gonna get into. They do make a couple of jokes about it, and thankfully it wasn't like a ton of time spent on talking about the fact that it's Christopher Lee playing an Asian man.
I think they make two references.
They make two references, one at the very beginning and one at the end. At least those are the only two that I can remember. There might have been another one thrown in there somewhere, but they do poke fun at it a couple times, and that's it. And we're not going to discuss it because we don't really get into that stuff too much. We're not a serious podcast where we need to discuss serious issues.
Discussion of issues.
Yeah. No, we just talk about dumb movies and people.
We leave that to the experts like James Wen,
who is a master of the romantic thriller.
Yeah, and environmental enviros, and
yeah. Okay.
Humping computer ghosts.
So this movie is, like I said, it's the 4th in the series with Christopher Lee, and that means that we kind of are thrown in the middle of this overarching story, and we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, they don't do any recap at all. And
there's nothing.
I think this is, I think that this is where, because I was thinking about it during my walk to the park and back, about how this is really kind of a demographics issue within specifically, welcome back from the edit, everybody, specifically within the RiffTrax / MST3K fandom.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that it is unfair to say that the RiffTrax / Misty fandom, we're an aging fandom in that we're not getting any younger. We're not attracting like new, younger people to the product. So like we're like fixed within like a certain age range. And I think that like Jeremy and I, if we're not like at the younger end of it, we're like near the younger end of it. If you look at like, and I saw this at, I think RiffTrax Live, Hobgoblins or Amityville, when they would show shots of the crowd, I was not appalled, but just shocked at just like how old everybody was. Like the audience. Like it's I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, so, really the only way that younger people are getting into it, at least what it seems, is, us forcing it on them. Like, hey, watch this. No, watch this
with me, my child.
Yes, that's what I did. Yeah. I mean, my son's into it, kind of. My 13-year-old daughter's getting into it now. She really likes the fact that they did that old version of The Wonderful Land of Oz.
Yeah, I love that's a really, really awesome one. But I think that like one of the many failures, and I'm not afraid to say this anymore because whatever, screw it. One of the many failures of the MST3K revival was its attempt to get a younger audience and failing. Like they tried hard for it, but they made all the wrong decisions. Like they blew all their money on these celebrity cameos, thinking they could get young people, but they got only celebrity cameos that appealed to people older than us, like Jerry Seinfeld, and Will Wheaton, So
Will Wheaton.
Shut up, Wesley. Joel. I know Joel went on like Game Grumps and was like completely out of his element. So the demographic that we're in isn't getting any younger. Okay. Now that's fine because older people like us, dare I say it, we need information, not information, we need entertainment made for us as well because we're still alive. But
Yeah.
like the mainstream outlets, they produce it for like, not old people like us.
Yes, like 18
So,
to 26, I think, is
yeah,
the main
yeah.
demographic.
RiffTrax is making stuff for us, but they're also making stuff for like the demographic that within the RiffTrax Mistyverse that are older than us, that appeals to like people who were way into Fu Manchu, like back when it was like a super popular thing. So
this one is aimed more at people the age of Mike, Kevin, and Bill.
Yeah, it's
which
really
is not
more
meant to be an
for
insult.
them. No, it's not. It's not. And like they deserve to have stuff that's made for them.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fine. But it leaves people like me and Jeremy, it kind of leaves us out in the cold because this movie has no recap. Like that's one of the major problems I had with enjoying it was that it was chosen, it was like it's justifiable as a movie choice because our fandom has this particular demographic in it.
Yeah.
So
and
that's why it's not a Copper Mountain type situation. That's why it's not trash tier movie selection.
Well, and it didn't feel
yeah.
It didn't feel like it was hours longer than it actually was either.
Yeah.
It felt like a shorter movie. This was definitely a shorter movie. It was an hour and a few minutes. Yeah. And it felt like it was about that length. It didn't feel like it just kept dragging on and on. The only issue, like Dave mentioned, is the fact that we don't know who any of these characters are supposed to be. But even though they've been established over 3 previous films.
Yeah. That demographic that is older than us, they do know that.
Yes, they do know that.
They're way into it.
And
so, like,
at least if you want to know what happens after this movie, like if you care for whatever reason, and you just want to watch it with riffs, you can. They did it in season 3 of MST3K. The Castle of Fu Manchu was the 5th and final movie of this series of films. So at least you could go into that one with maybe a little bit of knowledge of who the characters are now because you've watched this one.
Yeah.
I guess. So this got that going for it. I don't know.
But we are just dropped. Like Jeremy and I were just dropped, and we were chatting about it while we were watching. I think he was like maybe 25 minutes behind me.
Yeah, I was a little bit back
then. It was, man, like I couldn't tell you what happened in this movie. I couldn't tell you who anybody is. I couldn't even tell you where they are. I know they're in South America because I learned that on Wikipedia.
Well, and they do mention South America. The people who are in London mention that the rest of the stuff is going on in South America because then they go to South America. The whole
I won't lie, there were sections of this movie where my brain just checked out. Like I couldn't help it because I didn't know what was happening.
The only thing that I recognized, and I said this to Dave exactly. I'm just there's a part where one of the women slaves, she's trying to get this guy, this self-proclaimed king of whatever this little town is in South America, and she's like trying to be seductive and dance up to him, and I don't know if you could actually call it. If you could call it dancing, I don't know what exactly
dancing.
It was,
but
I
just feel like, you can kind of see my nipples.
She had a see-through outfit on, and at one point, like one of her boobs literally falls out of the thing she's wearing, and they make a joke about Justin Timberlake causing another wardrobe malfunction. But I literally,
I get it now.
I mentioned to Dave, I just said, "Oh, hello, breasts." At least there's something in this movie that I can understand what's happening. Like, I understand that part of it, but there was just so much. Like, okay, the main plot of this film. since we've kind of touched on
You
it.
could detect
We had
one?
to. Well, I had to look it up.
Okay.
Even the plot on Wikipedia is short. It's literally one short paragraph.
Like one paragraph, I think. Yeah.
But this is the plot of the movie, and some of it even in the film. Reading this didn't make any sense, but in his remote jungle hideout, the evil Dr. Fu Manchu, with his sadistic daughter Lin Tang, has discovered a deadly venom in a lost city in the Amazonian jungle that affects only men. Women can become carriers of the kiss of death by being bitten by venomous snakes, and in the movie it says that they're black cobras. The venom causes blindness and ultimately is followed by death 6 weeks later. Okay.
Wow.
They also mentioned something in the movie about if he unleashes the poison itself on the world on the full moon, it'll kill everybody or something.
Oh,
I didn't.
he's
That was
magic. I
towards
guess
the end. They
he's
just kind of
magic?
threw it in. I don't know. He's a mad
he magic?
scientist. He's a mad scientist. I don't know if he's
So
got
he's not
magic at all,
I
but
don't even know, man. I don't know.
he
if
wants
this
to.
is
He
like
wants to dominate the
Thanos or
world.
what.
That's what it is. He sends these women out to kill people by kissing them, and later in the movie, we see just random shots of dead dudes laying around. One guy's floating in a
one of
pool.
them's floating in a pool. Yeah.
Those were all of his enemies with political influence that he took out. The main character, or the main person that was affected by the venom and blinded, Nayland Smith, he's his main foil, I guess, throughout the entire series of books and movies and whatever. He gets blinded, but then they discover that the antidote is also the women. And I'm just like, what? And they're like, oh, yes, their blood contains the antidote. Okay. So they're laying next to each other. They just cut open the arm of the woman and the arm of Nayland, and they just kind of press them on each other. Like when you used to do, people used to do, blood packs or whatever. They'd, cut their hands and, shake hands. It was kind of like that. You just kind of had to mush it together, and I think Bill said, the blood knows what it needs to do. Transfusions. And that was... I loved that riff. That cracked me up the way he said it. But yeah, that's the plot of the movie. And okay, I still don't know who anybody is.
Okay, cool, we got it. Oh, I love at the end to be like, well, can we so I guess they destroy the underground layer.
Yeah, the
with
poison and stuff all
something.
got destroyed somehow.
And to be like, oh, that's the end of the lost city, but is it the end of Fu Manchu? I wish I could be more certain of that. Well, no, you can't, stupid. Of course you can't. You guys
And then-
Freddy Krueger. If this is movie number 4,
Well, then
like
you see
Freddy,
a silhouette
Jason
of Fu
et al.
Manchu, and he's like, "I, Fu Manchu, will return," and that's the
Yeah.
end of the movie. Then the credits start rolling again, and it's yeah. But
Now,
there,
in the-
there,
in
Go ahead.
the end credits, there was something weird. It says copyright 2017. I was like, somebody colorized this? What the hell is this?
yeah, I don't know what that is. It's probably just whoever owns the licensing for it now. I don't know.
Oh guys, my niece is just walking out of my house. I'm gonna scare her. Hey, Moo Moo. Hey, Moo Moo.
So there is a plot. The problem is it's hard to know what's going on because we're kind of dropped in the middle of it. Like we said, we don't know who any of these characters are beforehand. They don't really do any sort of character introductions in this because you're supposed to know who they all are because of the previous 3 movies in the series, but we don't. So it makes it a little
We don't. We
a
have
little
no
harder
idea.
to concentrate on and to know what's going on and to care. You don't care about these people because you
No,
don't really even learn who they are throughout the movie.
Or
which
the guy
is
who
like,
did not die, and they've tossed in a waterfall, and he very clearly blinks.
yeah. That's the guy that they said that they threw a dummy of mankind over the waterfall.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
That was a
another
reference
pretty
to
good
Mick Foley having a non-athletic build.
Yes. So, okay, Dave, I know we didn't know who anybody was, and it kind of made it a little difficult to figure out what was going on, but how do you think we should rate the plot for this one?
I don't know, man. I can't, like, it's hard because it's just like, like you wouldn't rate the plot of like Rogue One, like if you had never seen Star Wars before ever, and you said when you saw Rogue One, and you're like, well, that had a terrible plot. I had no idea what the hell any of this, like, what, like, why did they linger on that guy with an ass face? Like, why is he important? Like, what, like, so I mean, like, you wouldn't go and Rogue One.
Well, now you can watch Andor streaming now on Disney Plus. The first 3 episodes.
No, sir, I will not. I will not be doing that, Disney Plus. Like, I'm not nostalgic for 2016 yet. Okay. God's sake.
I'm pretty sure that started today. I think it did. I don't know. I don't care about it, so I don't know.
I think I'm gonna have to abstain from the plot because I don't want to be unfair to it. I mean, you can rate it, but it's just like if I were to rate it, I would say like 1. I had no idea what was happening, but that's not fair.
I think I'm gonna go right down the middle with this one. Give it 2.5.
Okay. All right.
Simply
cool.
because there was a plot,
yeah.
but it was hard to parse what was going on with the people because you didn't know who the hell anybody was.
Yeah.
Except for Fu Manchu, and that's only because I've seen the pictures before.
I'm going to be Barack Obama, and I'm going to vote present.
The acting. What about the acting in this movie?
I mean, it was bad. I mean, it wasn't like, I would say I would probably give it the same level of acting as the Bloody Pit of Horror, so like 2.
2? Yeah. It was probably right in line with the Bloody Pit of Horror. I would agree with that. It's very much like right there. What about the dialogue?
No. 1.
I agree with that. This is one that I know Dave is going to have some words to say about it. The cinematography.
The cinematography was terrible. It was bad. I'm not going to say it's the worst we've ever seen because I've decided that every time I say that, I end up being wrong. Like, it's not like Mikey where the cinematography is amazing, but it's also not like something like, say, Things. So I don't know. 3.
3? Really? I'm surprised you're going that high with it. The way that you were talking about it.
I've seen. Well, no, it is terrible. It's bad. It's not good either. But
there's a shot. There's a shot in this movie that I laughed just over the shot of it because the guy Nyland was riding in the back of one of those trucks that you always see in the war movies set in the jungle anywhere, where it's like the truck and it has like the big domed canopy on the back, kind of like the old covered wagons that they used to traverse the Oregon Trail. And and it's showing a shot from inside the truck out through the flaps while the jungle is moving backwards because they're driving down the road. And it's very, very shaky and unsteady because, they didn't have, like, Steadicams and stuff. And then it cuts and it shows Nyland's face, who's blind at this point. So are we to assume that the shot was supposed to be from his point of view? Like, it shouldn't have been anything then because he was blind. And in that case, why even show it?
Okay,
like, it literally went on for like a minute.
More about the cinematography here. Now that you say this, and I'm gonna have to revisit it. I'm gonna have to amend my score. I'm officially submitting a correction for my taxes here, and I'm just gonna give it a 2.
A 2? See, that's more in line with what I expected you to give it in the first place. But like you said,
well, no, I was
just
thinking about. I started thinking about things. Okay, here's where I messed up on that. I started thinking about things that were worse. So yeah, thanks, you redheaded dickhead.
Welcome back from the edit, folks.
Yeah,
uh, um,
but
okay,
yeah,
editing.
too. I started thinking about things that were worse, and I overrated it.
Yeah, I get that. What about the editing, Dave?
The editing, the editing was atrocious.
The editing was really bad to this. I'm getting that's a 1 for sure.
Yeah.
Effects. The effects were
There
awful
were
as
effects
well.
Oh yeah, no, we can't. No, okay, well, it's not a 0.
No,
Well,
it's not a
maybe it
0,
is,
but
because I can think of a movie that I love that had worse effects. That's Yambao. It kind of like the same thing, because you remember in Yambao they had they found the 3 frames where they threw
Yeah.
Yambao's body over. It did look like a stupid mannequin, and they used
Mhm.
that. That's worse than them throwing the fat mannequin over the waterfall.
we'll give it a 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
There's one other thing. I know I'm kind of in the middle of this here, but there's one other thing that I forgot to mention about this.
Okay.
Shirley Eaton appears in a scene. This is straight from Wikipedia. That she says she was never paid for. And apparently, what happened was the director inserted stock footage of her
Oh right.
from the girl from Rio
Oh, I thought it was A Million Eyes of Sumeru.
without telling her. No, the Million Eyes of Sumeru was I don't remember if it was the previous movie, The Vengeance. Yeah, the previous movie to this one, The Vengeance of Fu Manchu, was released as a double feature with The Million Eyes of Sumeru originally.
Okay.
But yeah, they put stock footage of her from a different movie in this movie, and nobody told her, and she didn't find out till years later that she had been in a Fu Manchu film.
That's funny.
I was going to mention that earlier, but I completely forgot. Sound and music.
I'm gonna go with 1 because I don't remember anything about it. It was that forgettable.
Nothing sticks out in this at all. Like
there wasn't any cheesy Chinese music or anything. If there would, I would remember that.
I'm trying
now
to remember the sound,
that.
the music, and I can't remember anything in particular that was in the movie.
Let me ask you something. Were you ever intimidated by Christopher Lee's presence?
In this film, no.
Okay.
Not in this film. You could tell that he was supposed to be the villain, but
It's I think they were depending on people
again, it goes back to people
don't
who
know,
are
man.
familiar with the character,
yeah.
who had already watched the previous 3 movies.
I had no idea. I still don't know if he's magic or not.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't.
It's hard to tell if is he supposed to have special powers or not.
Is he just a warlord? Is he like a Khanum? What? Genghis Khan? What's his deal? This movie could a recap would have been so helpful.
Yes, it would have been 100% helpful, because then we might have actually known what was going on and cared even a little bit.
Yeah.
And in this case, there was no reason to.
Yeah.
The stakes were low. We didn't know who anybody was. It was just bad. How about the directing? What do you think?
The fact that it existed, 2, I guess. I'm not giving this thing any 3s anymore.
Again, it did feel like an actual movie, not
Yeah.
Some of these other things that
But
we've
that
seen
doesn't
recently.
raise to 3 level. It doesn't rise to what's that joke in Harry Potter 4 or 5 when they they're in the room of requirement, and Harry is teaching everyone how to do the defensive spells and the attack spells, and
Yeah.
Neville's screwing it up. and then like he finally does something, and they'd be like, everyone's like, "Oh, congratulations, Neville!" And the riff is, "You rose to a level of mild competence." That's kind of how I feel about like the directing of this movie. It's like, yeah, it was mildly competent. It's like the Neville Longbottom of directing.
That's a good way to put it. Character and personality of this movie. We don't know any of the characters, and we couldn't tell
We don't
what was
know.
going on.
Two. It's a two. It's a two.
Okay. Oh man.
Two's across the board.
Two's across.
But no, didn't we already give some of it once?
Yes, we gave some of it once.
Okay.
And then the riff. Some of the good ones in this. Again, right at the beginning.
They had a great dancing "It's On" reference, which
yes,
I appreciate.
She's dancing, but I can't tell if it's on.
Tell if it's on.
There was some good.
Anytime
some
they
good
reference
callbacks in
obscure riffs that I like.
They
always, like,
made a
A+.
Cannibal World riff in here.
Yeah.
Which
Did you
which
watch
we haven't
that?
talked about yet. We'll have to talk about that one soon.
Yeah.
But when
because I watched it.
when they're walking through the
I
jungle.
can tell you my entire thoughts about it right now, super quick. Cannibal World, the female lead is naked through the entire thing, and that arm effect is horrendous. There, that's my review of Cannibal World.
But they say that they're having flashbacks to the nostalgia of
Cannibal
doing
World.
Cannibal World during the jungle scene.
That-
And they
all
make a
that
joke-
nostalgia for July of 2022.
Yeah, they make a joke at the very beginning of this with Christopher Lee, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he went on to play that wizard." And what was his name? And Kevin's like Saruman, and he's like, "Oh, don't feel bad. I can't remember his name either, man." And it's just like,
And Bill says, "Go straight to hell, both of you."
yes, you both can go straight to hell. Oh, I love it. And then at the very end, the other joke about Christopher Lee playing this character, they're like, Fu Manchu, played by someone with the last name of Lee. He must be Asian.
That was like the one reference that they did for it.
Yeah. There was a lot of good callbacks in this one. At least I was laughing while I was watching it.
Yeah. It's some good stuff. So I'll get a 4. It wasn't like, it wasn't like mind blowing. Like,
Yeah, again, it's not oh my God, you have to watch this right now riff.
yeah, it's not like Guy from Harlem or things like that.
Yeah. Talking Cat or Spiker. Any of that
Like
stuff.
I wouldn't like. I mean, I'm probably not gonna watch it again, but I don't want to put it in like. But I also don't resent its existence, like Copper Mountain. Like it's not
Or
that kind of
Cats.
a situation.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I might eventually watch this one again, like if it's on, if
I
I
think it's
just
on Twitch or
turn
something.
on the Twitch
yeah.
stream or whatever in the background, and it's on, I'll pay a little bit of attention to it because it is very humorous. But yeah, it's
My favorite riff was the dance and it's on riff. That's my official.
yeah, that was
position.
good. Any time where they can do any sort of callbacks to good ones like that.
To like really good ones, but also good obscure ones that I like. Like they're good, obscure, and ones that I'm a fan of. Like they'll be like, oh, cool, yeah. There we go.
saw you're speaking of kind of obscure stuff. I saw a list the other day, and it was like the top 10 small budget sci-fi movies you've probably never heard of or whatever. And
How
the
many
one
of
that
them
they
have
had,
we heard of?
almost all of them. Half of them at least were riffed already. But one of them was Planet of the Dinosaurs, and they had that ranked like number 5, and I'm like, what are you smoking when you're watching this?
That movie is awful. I mean, it's it's an essential riff. Like we should talk about that. Have we talked about Planet of Dinosaurs on the podcast?
I don't remember. I'd have to look at the master list, but
Do we want to make a commitment to talk about that if we haven't?
if we
Like, right
haven't,
here
yes,
live?
we'll definitely talk about that one
Oh,
on an
good.
upcoming
Because
episode.
that one is. I love it. I love Planet. I actually watched that in Japan.
Nice.
The riff in 2009. 13 years ago. When it first came out.
Well,
So
the totals are in. Out of 50 possible points, the Blood of Fu Manchu gets 19. So not the worst.
yeah, not the best either.
Not the best, but not the worst. I don't think anything will
I
beat
think the
Cats. As for being the worst, I mean, like, nothing will get a lower score than
I don't know, man.
Cats.
Copper Mountain and Cats, man, are pretty close.
They are. They're
But I
both
think-
pretty close.
But oh yeah, that's right. Like we did a thing where Cats got zeros across the board. That's never
Yeah.
happened. I don't
Yeah.
think that's ever going to happen again.
No.
Like something has to be
No, I
as
don't
bad
think it
as Cats. And Cats is every bit as bad as you think.
It is literally the worst movie they've done. I know I said this a lot last week, but I'm going to stand by that.
You know,
It is
people
the
talk
worst
about
movie that they've done.
Rollergator. People talk about Rollergator. Cats.
Cats, easy. Easy. Cats is even worse than Baby Ghost, and it's even worse than Things. Like, I know
Yeah,
I said that last
Cats
week,
is
but
like very bottom of the
100%
barrel.
standing by that. This
Worse
movie
than
is,
Oblivion.
even though this movie is boring, really, it's way better than Cats. I would watch this
Oh yeah,
a million times
yeah.
before I ever
Like
watch
I
Cats
said
again.
before, we are not talking about a trash tier level riff
No,
or movie selection.
no, it's
We're-
mid.
That's not what this was. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike says Cats is a whole other level. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Dave, now we got to get to our big question. Would you watch
Yeah.
this movie unriffed?
Probably not. No, I would not. What about you?
Only if I could start it from the first movie, and that would be too much for me watching 5 of these. So
Yeah,
I,
see, and
I don't
that's
think
the
I would
thing.
get this far.
I don't really have an interest in this franchise.
No.
Like I know, like, and that just goes back to the demographic discussion. Is that I'm just like not like. I mean, this was for. I mean, like, this was that throwing a bone to the older Misty crowd, like the Joel era Misty crowd.
Yeah.
Then I'm just not in that demographic.
I will say this, just because I thought this was really funny. The last person to portray a version of Fu Manchu committed to film in any way, Nicolas Cage.
What?
Is
Is that true?
Yes. I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was one of the fake trailers that they had for Grindhouse, because it says it was in Grindhouse, and I know they had a bunch of like fake movie trailers for other horror films and stuff, and I'm pretty sure that's where it was. But it was Nicolas Cage is the last person to play
Huh?
Fu Manchu on film.
Is
Up to
Fu
this point.
Manchu a public domain character? I can't imagine he's not.
I would imagine so, because of the fact that the character originated in 1913.
Okay, well then he's definitely in public domain, so there can definitely be Fu Manchu Winnie the Pooh slash fic out there that you can sell and not get sued. So
Fu
I'm just
Manchu
putting
and
that
Winnie
out
the
into the
Pooh.
world.
Fu Manchu and Tigger 2. There you go. It's the next.
Oh no!
It's the next $1 million franchise crossover.
Yeah,
Pooh
50
Manchu.
Shades of
Josh
Chew.
said Pooh Manchu.
50 Shades of Fu. Winnie the Fu Manchu.
Winnie the Pooh
Like,
Manchu.
you want to know, like, what like how perverse people are? You're aware of Kingdom Hearts, right? This
Oh yeah.
this unholy abomination of IP puke fest, Kingdom Hearts. One of the like a couple years ago, one of, like, you know how people like draw like fetish art for video games and stuff. One of the popular pairings for these sick Fs that draw this stuff was Sephiroth, the main
The
villain of
winged
Final
angel,
Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
That's a ship. That's a popular ship for people to draw smut.
Why?
I'm not making that up. It's like, it's full on pregnant Sonic territory.
Oh. And on that note, we're going to wrap up the episode. Ha! Oh, man. If you enjoyed the episode today, you can head on over to patreon.com/trueblueriffcast and support us by throwing us a couple dollars a month. If not, you can subscribe here on Twitch, where we broadcast live from. We also, take bits and all that fun little stuff. But if you can't support us financially or don't want to support us financially, that's fine. We don't really care. We don't do this to make money off of it. We do it because we enjoy it. But if you still want to follow along, make sure you drop a follow here on Twitch, and you'll get notified anytime we go live. And I do use this. This is my personal Twitch channel. I do use this for gaming and stuff every great once in a while. So you might get some of those too. Don't worry about it. But you can follow me on Twitter at PBandAwesome. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at TBRiffcast.
And I'm Dave. You can check me out on Twitter at DChadwickAuthor and on my website at davechadwick.info. Go to right now, everybody, if you're listening and you want to support me personally, and if you want to support like my narrators and stuff like that, go to audible.com, search for Dave Chadwick. They're doing a sale. I don't know how much it is, but I can't imagine it's very much. And if you've been holding out on getting the audiobooks for Happy Valley and Tumbleweed, go there right now and do that, because that's happening now. I think it ends in a couple of days. And also my books on Amazon do the same thing. Go to amazon.com, search for my name, Dave Chadwick, Monkey, Tumbleweed Dossier, Son of Santa, Happy Valley. They're all 99 cents for the rest of the year. Go do that if you want to support me. And Son of Santa should be coming out in a few days, the audiobook with our fantastic narrator, Colette Thomas.
All right. We are looking forward to that. But we'll see you guys next time on the True Blue Riffcast.
Rock till you die.